me and say, Sister Sola, you're not changed at all. For starters, I'm some 18 kg more than what I was then. So can you imagine, carry something and then add 18 kg on that thing and carry it? Has that thing not changed? We're honored to be at the couples dinner of the Redeemed Christian Church of God Living Assembly, Newcastle upon Tyne. And we were asked to share on what makes a good marriage. We thought we'd share this with you and hope that you also will share with us. You think this will be a blessing too. So share. We're all sharing, right? And we thank Pastors Toyin and Ayoaki for the invite then. Thank you too for coming to the Blossom Couple today. The first thing we want to talk about is commitment.
So commitment is not a feeling. It's a choice. It says, I am for you no matter what. It's a choice to stick together in all seasons, pleasant or tough, enjoying the good moments and hanging there when it gets tough, looking for ways to make things better. The key word in commitment is choice. You've made a choice. You decide to live with that lady, to have her as your wife, to have him as your husband. It is your choice. And because you have chosen, you want to say, well, this is where I've pitched my tent.
From the day we said yes to each other, for us, that was a lifelong commitment. Nothing was going to change that. From that day, we made up our mind to stay married. And I think that's a very, very important part. Divorce has never been an option. It's not an option. We are here. I'm here for you, no matter what. Anyhow it goes, we're going to walk through this. We're going to sort it out. And so, no matter what happens, we are for each other. And when you have that as your state of mind, it's very helpful. You won't think, oh, well, if it doesn't work, there is no room for that. Commitment is staying curious about your husband, about your wife. There is nothing like see finish. I know him. I know the way he's going to react. I know the way he's going to respond. Come on, 34 years. 34 years ago, this man didn't look this way. I thought I was going to bring our wedding photograph, but somehow I forgot. And I would have sent it around for you to see if this is the way. People see me and say, Sister Sola, you're not changed at all. For starters, I'm some 18 kg more than what I was then. So can you imagine, carry something and then add 18 kg on that thing and carry it? Has that thing not changed? People say you haven't changed. So we are not the same, just as physically speaking. Yeah, he's still very handsome. The most handsome man in all the earth.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, if people have changed physically, why do we think that there will be no change in their attitude to life? And spouses change. We change. The things we like change. Has anybody found there's some change in the person they married 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Thank you, brother. So one day I was thinking, there was a response my husband gave me, and I said, I was telling myself, and I was saying to the Lord, this is not the man I married. And I just heard the Holy Spirit saying to me, do you still want that man you married in the exact state you married him 4 years ago? What about all the growth? Do you want to shave off all of the growth and all the graces and how it has become? softer and kinder and more understanding. I said, no, Lord. So we change and we need to have that in mind. So we need to remain curious. How is my husband? What is he thinking about this? How how is he reacting about that? How is my wife taking this? And believe me, some of them might be things that you admired to the other side of them. So I'll just give a little example. So my husband pays attention to details. Because of that, when he's online and he's shopping or he's researching something for us, for me, about my YouTube channel or something like that, he gets the best details, things that I would have rushed past. And they make me look very brilliant and intelligent. But he says, so where's that bottle of water? I say it's on the table. He's coming, he wants to see it. And I'm like, hey, I'm an accountant. I know you're an accountant. Can't you just believe if I say it's on the table, must you see it? And sometimes I found that gets on me. Like, is it that you don't believe me? But see, it is what I love, that he pays attention to details. And that is what makes him want to come and see if that thing is really there, right? And then when we were courting and well into our marriage, I would be holding him accountable. Like, oh, have you done this? The deadline for this thing is coming. And he would say, oh, yeah, God sent. Help me achieve outcome.
Why don't you let me talk about that?
Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's true. The issue of commitment and change and curiosity is very important. Commitment, because we've talked about commitment. The person you said you married 34 years ago will change gradually. But will you still love that person? Are you still committed to that person? Yes, we met maybe almost 40 years ago. And here was a young lady, not shy. I love the way she spoke. I was a very quiet and reserved person. But now we've come together, and at times, much of the talking becomes an irritation to me. Why should that be?
Sometimes I would be tempted to give up and say, he might get irritated. But then I said, no, I'm committed to this. And our success, his success is my success. Sometimes it might just be about a personal thing that he needs to do. And I would still say, well, can I remind you? So the point is, we do change. So the way we express ourselves to one another should also change. We should adapt to the changing needs of that person. I hope the point is made. Yes. So not that you now abandon and say, no, I'm not going to do it again, but respond to the way that person feels and the way the person can respond to you. Of course, he would say it. He says, well, if I don't do it, I'm not going to have peace. So I do it.
Commitment keeps you going. I am always for you. When time changes, I'm there. Whatever happens, I will be there. That's what commitment says. Important bits about commitment. 1, commitment to God and commitment to growth in God. We found this very, very early in our marriage, that the closer we are to God, the easier it was for us to be close to one another. If at any point in time there was a slag in our fellowship with God, our relationship will begin to stutter, kind of. Yeah. So commitment to God is number 1. When we are committed to God, it's easier to love God's daughter. It is easier to love God's son with your whole heart because you love him. Invest in growing in that relationship. We try to help one another to grow in our relationship with God. because we know if we succeed with him, we will succeed with each other.
And the other thing is commitment to personal growth. Seek each other's good. Like the Bible says, everybody should look after the things of the other. What's that thing that's important to your wife? What's that thing that's important to your husband? What are the areas where they need to grow? Be there to say, you need to do this. How about this project you're working on? How about this thing you said you want to do? And another thing we do actively is always seeking for new common interests. You know, we're talking about refreshing. For it to be fresh, new common interests. For example, we learn French together. We've been doing that for some years. Maybe 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. And you hear one person remind the other, have you done your French lesson? You're going to fall out of the league if you don't do your lesson. Oh, it's 6 p.m. You haven't done the lesson for the day. We're doing it together. And also because we do it together, we have an understanding that, oh, this thing is important to this person because we are doing it together. Then recently he started talking of learning to play the keyboard. He bought a keyboard. So I've been telling him, when are you going to start your lessons? When are you going to start your lessons? It's just about a month, so it's not too long. And then I found myself saying, oh, I would also love to learn. And so that is talking about common interest, then supporting the interest of the other person, even if it's not your own interest. And sometimes it does become common interest. If you come to our house and some beautiful roses greet you, that's the Baba gardener of our house. Yeah. For me, I would just make it all concrete floor. But because he's that interested, I help him water the flowers. We do weeding together. And on his birthday, I take him to the garden shop. So I look at flowers. I even have coffee at the garden shop. We'll talk about the YouTube. It started as me, my channel, but now it's very difficult to call it my channel because even when he's not speaking, sometimes you just see him walk past. And when you don't see him in the background, he's doing a lot of research, right? I'm going to the next point. Communication is very important. And communication simply means talk to each other, talk to each other, talk to each other often, and listen to each other. Now, our own experience is we catch up on the day, not only at the end of the day, at little intervals. These days, we are together almost 24/7. But there was a time I was here with our daughter. My husband was in Nigeria, and that went on for 3 years. But my daughter would say, my daddy lives in this house 24/7. Because if something happened, and in 5 minutes, I called my husband to tell him, say, oh, yeah, she told me. So we flowed like every time talking. And now, if one of us leaves the house, maybe went to Morrison to do some shopping, or is on the way somewhere and stop somewhere, you hear the phone ring. Can't you just leave me? When did you just leave the house? Yeah, and when I was at Morrison, I saw or I saw Felix, and he said this and he said this, and we'll just be chatting and just gisting on. So whenever we meet again, there is no gap. And that's how we keep our communication going. You can do that by text, by chat, or any way that you can keep on. Don't wait for when you get back home in the evening. There will be so much to catch up on and to keep rolling on and on and on.
A key part of communication is also listening. That's my weak point. Listening. My wife wants attention, full attention. And I am that person that cannot stick to one thing for maybe
3 minutes.
3 minutes. I will touch a pen, I will lift the paper, I will touch my phone. But when it comes to communication, we are face to face, listen, pay attention. Active listening is important. It helps because it helps you to understand the other person. And if you think, oh, I'll be fiddling with my phone and talking, foul. You miss some things. I've tried it a number of times, and I'm always caught in the act.
And I don't let it go. I've learned, I will just stop and say, since you are busy, when you finish. He said, oh, go on and talk, I can still do it. I said, I know, tomorrow when I ask you, you say, did you tell me that? So I'm waiting. When you finish with the paper or the phone, then I'll still be here. And
yes, and talking about listening, one skill we learned is reflective listening. Reflective listening. You hear I hear what she has said, and I rephrase or I repeat what I've heard to confirm, to be sure that I heard the correct thing. That helps us to be on the same page, because if not, I may not get exactly all that. I may get the words, but I may not get the feelings that went with the word. So all are important. Reflective listening, active listening is important.
I think we'll just share a poem that helped us, not in listening, but in laying everything bare. Because that's the last point we want to make under communication. Lay everything bare. Hold no secrets. And we came across this poem very early. It says, oh, the comfort, the inexpressible comfort of feeling safe with a person, having neither to weigh thoughts nor measure words, but pouring them all out, just as they are, chaff and grain together, knowing that a faithful hand will take and sift them. Keep what is worth keeping, and with the breath of kindness, blow the rest away. And John 4:18 says, perfect love casts out all fear. So if we're encouraging that, if you haven't been doing that, and after today, your wife, your husband decides to lay everything bare to you, what we do is this. We take what is worth keeping, and with a breath of kindness, blow the rest away. I'm never going to remind you that thing that you said. If I say I don't like it, then it's going to end in that place. So
I even forget it.
Yes. He forgets.
I forget.
Like real forget.
I'll forget it.
But for me, it's not that I immediately forget. We have different giftings. I don't immediately forget, but I push it aside and I don't come back to it. The person is laying their heart, pouring everything out to you. There should be no fear in love, as the Bible says. And how about in marriage? Let the person pour it all out. Be the person's ears, that something that another person cannot even hear. They are free to tell you.
Before we go on to the next, just one question. Yeah. It says, when and what will you put into your daily, weekly schedule to facilitate ongoing communication in your marriage? Set actual times to just check in with each other. The next thing we want to talk about is keep the adventure. Is your marriage an adventure? Is it an adventure to you? To us, we have found that being married to Busola is an adventure. I treat it as such. Yeah, because it's something I love to do. I'm married to my friend. I think I just heard someone say it when we were here, that the best thing is to be married to your friend. And if you're married to your friend, every day will be an adventure. And it's not that it just happens. You need to make it an adventure. That is what we learned. And
so we talked about friendship, love, mutual fulfillment. That's what marriage is for. And for it to be an adventure, you need to make time for each other, like sharing good, fun times together. Without fun, life becomes hard, it becomes boring. And if you remember when you were dating or courting, as we called it in our time, those were the things that made it exciting, those fun times. There are hard times, but I miss those difficult times, those silly jokes that you cracked. You still do. Beautiful. I love that. So everything doesn't have to be serious. So those fun times together, you need to have them sprinkled in and in heavy doses. Include humor in your daily relationship. And I would say for us, that's one area we're working on. We are very serious people. We'll still say to each other, year after year, well, everything is very, very serious for us. We need to bring in humor. We're trying. We're still working on it. Maybe it's our history. Maybe it's the way it was when we were being brought up. And the hard times of, trying to make ends meet and all of those things. Things are just serious. But we're working on it. Like, to keep the adventure, let's share what we do now. We spend quality time with each other. We do. No leftover time. I saw in the flyer that was sent out, marriage gets the leftover. Don't let your marriage get the leftover of your time. Be intentional in fixing the time for your time together. Have a date day or date night. We do have a date day. It might not be possible for you to have a whole day, or the night might even be difficult. But you know what? You can exchange. You can send your children to your friends for that period, maybe for half of a Saturday. And another time, you can have the exchange. Is that possible? Yeah. And then we take walks early in the morning. You can do that when you can, if possible, for a few minutes. Yeah. Ours is long. You've already heard we're empty nesters, so we can get up anytime and we can go for as long as we want. But you can create a little time. Then visit places of mutual interest. Come on, in Newcastle there are so many parks. And if you are wondering, come and ask us after this time. We'll tell you all the secret places. Visit friends. Do you visit your friends? Find time, visit a friend. Visit friends together. And also very important, encourage each other to have friends, same-sex friends. I encourage my husband. His friendship with with the men, his male colleagues, is very important. You wouldn't know how important it is. There are ways they talk to one another. When he's with Bro Sam, the way they talk to one another, well, we girls, we don't understand, but we do understand the way we flow, that we know that we need our girlfriends. And so there are times that Ebere, that's what I call her. There are times that Ebere will get up from Sweden and come to Newcastle to come and spend some time with me. There are times I will get up and go there. There are times we go together. We thank you guys for letting us be ourselves. And just last week, we went to someone's place to pick something from them, and we asked about this. So I said, oh, they have 4 children? 3 or 4? 4 children. He said, oh, I'm with the tribe. My wife went to London to be with. To see her friend. Yeah, so encourage that. And then take affordable vacations outside the area. And you might be thinking, where is there going to be money for that? If you are thinking that way, you can also do house swap with a friend that lives on the other part of Newcastle or wherever you live. Those change of environment are very good. Okay, can we come to your house for the weekend? You come to our house for the weekend. House swap.
Yes, so if you ask us, you can come to our house.
Yes, and we'll come to your house.
And we'll take your house for the weekend.
That's enough. Yeah. Then another thing we do is basic mundane things together, like cooking. We cook together. And that's not just now. That is right from start. We will tell the children, it's our turn, go. We stay in the kitchen and do our things.
Intentional. We are planned for the year. We list the things we want to do. As individuals, as a couple.
So we talk about what we do with each other. How are we going to serve each other better? How are we going to what are we going to do with our children? How are we going to relate with the grandchildren, our friends? He's mentioned budget, our relationship with God. We look at our giving. Do we want to? What are we doing with our giving to God? And all of those things.
And also we think about other causes we support. We plan. So we are intentional. What are we going to do? Where are we going to visit? How much will this cost us? So we plan this into our budget for the year. At times we don't only look at the year, we look forward to 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. How will we relate with ourselves and with others within our sphere so that we are happy? We plan those fun times. Like right now we are thinking, next year,
Are you revealing secrets?
Secret. We're planning, we're thinking Singapore. We have a friend in a Singaporean Chinese friend. We're looking at visiting them. We have one in Australia, and we think, oh, this is a 10-year project. This is a 5-year project. Just build fun into life.
Let me say another thing about intentionality that is very important. Is intention to need Him. It is my intention to need Him, to always have need of Him. Intentionally need your spouse. Each of us can stand alone if we didn't marry. You can do things for yourself. Think about the things you do together. You can help yourself. But I need Him because I have decided that I need Him. Without Him, life is not going to be full, it's not going to be complete. So you have that intentionality towards your spouse. Don't think I can do it alone. If you could, why did you get married? There are people who decide they won't marry, but you decided to marry, then keep that intentionality to stay married. And so dream with each other and work together to make all these dreams work. One other thing we would have mentioned is sexual intimacy, but we are told that that is on the list to be discussed as a whole topic.
That's very important.
Yeah, so when we talk about things that make marriage enjoyable, sexual intimacy is also a very, very vital part of things that make marriage enjoyable. So to conclude, we would say be committed, communicate with each other.
Keep seeking adventure.
Yes, keep your adventure going.
And be intentional in needing each other. Thank you.
God bless you.